In sync with Google's release of Android 11, OnePlus has released their spin on Android 11 in the form of an OxygenOS open beta. While it's not entirely clear what version of the Android beta this is based on, we won't really be focusing too much on the actual Android 11 changes. Rather, we'll be taking a look at the fresh twists and tweaks OnePlus is making to its OxygenOS skin. Once I'd powered it up, the aspects of the new design were immediately apparent in the default font. Integrated by default system-wide, OnePlus's brand new OnePlus Sans font replaces their former custom font, OnePlus Slate. And I think it's a mistake. The font has very little weight, making it hard to read due to the thinness. While I don't think this is the case, it almost looks like the actual black color of the text has been dialed back to a light gray. The text is that thin. This continues throughout in most places it's used. Thankfully, they left an alternative, Roboto. The next major change to OxygenOS 11 is OnePlus's apparent attempt at OneHanded UI, which is overall pretty similar to Samsung's One UI. This is a change that seems to be throughout OnePlus's stock apps, and it essentially enlarges the app title or header, pads it with plenty of empty space, and pushes the actual interactive bits of your apps to about halfway down the screen. I'm personally not a fan of this shift, and while I'm aware One UI has been approaching their mobile app UI in this way for a few years now, I still think it's the wrong move. There are new live wallpapers bundled with this release where, depending on the time of day, they change appearance. Despite this claim, I haven't really been able to notice any distinct shifts, and I hope that OnePlus adjusts these wallpapers' range of visual change. OnePlus has also updated the Calculator app with an easier way to access history. The Notes app oddly vanished in Beta 3 from my OnePlus 8, which was clearly an accident as it was restored to the OS in Beta 4 right before this open beta. Thankfully, the only notes that I had in the app were just a few small grocery lists prior to updating to Beta 3, so I didn't lose a whole lot. Since this is just a beta, issues like that come with the territory. Changes to the tabbed UI, such as what is found in the Gallery app, are inconsistent and slightly unusable, as the tab targets require precise control. Plus, they don't even look like tabs or appear consistently between apps. Sure, you can swipe between them, but not knowing this makes it feel as though OnePlus completely removed the other sections. The Weather app also got a makeover with larger fonts and a card-based UI. However, it utilizes some rather odd-looking images that feel slightly out of place. They almost reflect a skeuomorphic design that harkens back to a design from a decade ago, not something that would be released in 2020, and not in the more modern way we've seen that sort of design return. The Zen Mode utility received an overhaul sort of like the Weather app. This update, however, feels like a much more dramatic visual overhaul than the Weather app. Gone are the playful illustrations and modern design. It again seems to take a few steps backwards with the overall design aesthetic, and if it isn't obvious, I'm not the biggest fan. In this update, OnePlus tweaked the system-wide dark mode with added card backgrounds and circles around the icons, supposedly adhering to standards for better accessibility, which is always great to hear. Additionally, as was previously promised by the company, there is an added dark mode toggle in quick settings, making it much easier to change the theme on a whim. After much anticipation and teasing from OnePlus, always-on displays have arrived on OnePlus handsets. The AOD has been introduced in OxygenOS 11 with plenty of customizability and a handful of clock styles. That's great, although the way OnePlus has laid out the settings for adjusting the AOD feels rather unintuitive, splitting the AOD's functionality settings from its visual appearance settings. While there are some other smaller tweaks, this covers most of the visual changes in OxygenOS 11 Open Beta. Generally speaking, OnePlus's new approach seems to have been redesigned in silos. Apps feel inconsistent with each other, the design language used don't feel cohesive, and ultimately, it feels bad. Ideally, OnePlus will make changes in future updates to improve the overall experience, or at least make the changes more consistent, but given that these designs are rather large overhauls and this is an open beta, and given OnePlus's Android 11 public release is likely just around the corner, I doubt much will change, unfortunately. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up as that helps a lot. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to the Android Police channel. Thanks for watching, and this has been Android Police.